Without a doubt, the most common question that I get on my channel is, how do you do it all? How do you homeschool your kids and run a business and have a YouTube channel and do things like working out and cooking healthy dinners and all the things? So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my secrets for how I do all the things, or at least appear to do all the things. These are just some strategies that I figured out over the past few years of having a lot on my plate, and I hope they help you too. Before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know that you should stick around till the end of the video, because at the very end, I'm going to be sharing how you can grab a free copy of my priority planner pack to help you map out your priorities and better figure out how to fit all the different things into your life that you need to do. First of all, minimalism. And no, I'm not talking about getting rid of all of your stuff. I'm not that good at minimalism, although I try to be relatively minimalistic, but here I'm talking about minimalist with how you do things. And one of the best examples of this would be how I fit exercise into my life. So if I was to just go about this kind of the default way without putting a lot of thought into how to do this in a more minimalist way, then I might every day drive to the gym, spending 15 or 20 minutes driving, then work out at the gym for an hour, and then drive back home for another 15 or 20 minutes. The whole ordeal from beginning to end might take me 2 hours. And that would be a lot of time, especially if I did try to do it every day. But instead, what I'm doing, at least these days, is I'm working out at home. That cuts out all the drive time. And then when I work out at home, I did a lot of research to find the exercises that work out the most different parts of my body at one time, so that I can do the fewest number of exercises and get the biggest results. So I just have 3 different exercises that I do every day, and I alternate 3 one day, a different 3 the next day, back and forth. So I have like A-B workouts. And then for each of the 3 exercises, I do 3 sets of 10 reps. So I do a total of 90 reps per day, but the whole thing takes me 15 to 20 minutes total. Directly related to this strategy of minimalism is the 80-20 principle, which I'm sure you've heard of before. It basically says that you get 80% of your results from 20% of the effort. And this is true in all areas of life, work and exercise and trying to be healthy and trying to have a social life, even just anything that you're trying to do. You're going to get 80% of the results from 20% of the effort. So not only am I looking at, say, my business goals and thinking, what is the easiest, simplest way I can reach this goal? But I'm also looking at what I'm doing and the results that my actions are creating and trying to figure out which ones are really having the biggest impact. Quick example here, there are tons of different ways I could market my business, but I found that making 1 YouTube video per week gets me more leads and more new customers than any other thing I've tried, even things that take a lot more time or a lot more money. So this is where I prioritize my work time every week. Next is the urgent versus important matrix. So basically, this is the idea of dividing your tasks into things that are urgent and things that are not urgent, things that are important and things that are not important. So most people are prioritizing the things that are urgent, just the stuff that has to get done right away, and they're kind of living paycheck to paycheck with their schedule. So they're just doing things at the last minute constantly, so they're constantly having to focus on those urgent things. So I overcome this by first of all trying to minimize things and cut things out of my life so that there's less for me to keep up on, so that I can focus on the important things. Because long term, I get better results if I can focus on those important things instead of just keeping up with the urgent things. So here's a great example of this. If I was just focused on the urgent of gotta pay the bills, then I might just go out and get a job right away so that I have some money to pay the bills right now. But instead, I prioritized the hard work of building my own business so that I could build something that would far more than pay my bills and give me the lifestyle that I really wanted to live. Super practical tip now, work while the kids are sleeping. God did an amazingly beautiful thing, and he made it so kids sleep like 12 hours a night, while adults only sleep about 8 hours a night, or some people a lot less than that. And so what that means is that we grown-ups have several hours every day when our children are sleeping, and this is such a huge blessing because it's hard to get stuff done when you have toddlers or really children of any age running around and needing things from you. And personally, when the kids are around, I like to give them my full attention. So I take full advantage of working while they're sleeping. That means waking up a couple hours before they get up so that I can get an hour or two of work in first thing in the morning, then working for an hour or two while they're napping, and if I need to, working for an hour or two after they go to bed. Now, to be honest, at this point, I don't always work during just those times because now my husband is home, so he takes care of them, and I also have a nanny come for a few hours a week. But especially in the early days of building my business, when my husband was working a job and I definitely could not afford a nanny at all, that was how I got it done. Okay, the next strategy I'm going to share with you is the one that's probably the hardest for me, but I find it makes a big difference, so I want to share it. That is having clear boundaries. Now, there are lots of different parts of your life that you could have clear boundaries that I think would really help with this general issue of like, how do we get all the things done? But specifically here, I mean clear boundaries about what you're doing when. So essentially having a strict schedule. So for example, for me, I don't work when I'm around my kids, and that is a boundary that I really try to keep in place. And the reason for this is because I find that when I try to work and parent at the same time, I don't do either thing well. I'm distracted, so I don't do my work that well, and it takes forever. And because I'm distracted, I'm also obviously not giving my kids my full attention, and so they're not going to really feel like I care about them, and I'm not going to be able to take care of them as well as I should. So the main idea here is don't try to multitask because it doesn't work very well. Instead, set aside specific times to focus on specific things. Now, I do think that there are certain types of tasks you can multitask on. For example, you could listen to a podcast and go on a walk, and those two things are requiring different kinds of attention, so you'll probably be just fine, and I definitely do that. But when you're thinking about things that really need to be at the forefront of your brain and demand your undivided attention, those things, it just doesn't work very well to try to multitask on. Okay, and now we come to one that everyone knows. I know this isn't possible for everyone, but if possible, delegate. It's how I'm able to do as many things as I am today. Now, even a few years ago, I was building my business. I was a mom. I was also working at a local business as well. I had a lot on my plate then, but I wasn't able to do as much with my business as I wanted to, or to keep up my YouTube channel and my blog the way I wanted to. And that's because I didn't have much of any help. I was doing it pretty much all on my own. Now, today, I've got a team of people who I can delegate tasks to in my business, and it means the business is able to do a lot more. And like I mentioned earlier, I also have the help of my husband and a part-time nanny who help me with the kids. But if you're not at a position right now that you can do that, I just want you to know it is totally possible to do all the things. You just have to be really selective about what you do and very minimalistic about how you do them, because you can't do all of the things. You have to pare things down if you can't delegate. Next, we have something that I like to call roles and goals. So for this, basically, I take a look at what each of my different roles is in my life. So for example, one of my roles is to be a mom, the other is to be the CEO of my company, another role is to be a wife, and another role is to be a friend. I also might have a role like being on a certain committee or working a part-time job or being a YouTuber. But whatever these different roles are, I make a list of all the roles, and then under each role, I clarify specifically what my objectives or my goals are for that role. So for example, in my role as a mom, what are my highest priorities? What are my goals for being a mom? What are my main objectives? Well, for me, some of those are, I want to raise kids that have good character, and I want to raise kids that are happy. I want my kids to feel loved and feel cared for, and I also want to provide my kids with a good quality education. So I have to look at what my goals are for each of these different areas of my life so that I know what tasks I should prioritize to get the outcome I'm really looking for. Otherwise, I can't really apply the 80-20 rule. And that ties in perfectly to my last tip, which is to prioritize. You have to know what is most important to you, or else you'll try to do all the things. And none of us actually have time to do all the things. We cannot train for a marathon and train to be an Olympic swimmer and take a painting class and cook 3 meals every day for our family and run a business and a YouTube channel and take piano lessons and take our kids to soccer, and you get the picture. You have to draw the line somewhere. there. You don't have time every day or every week or even every month to do all the different things you possibly could do. So you have to decide which things you will do and which things you won't do. And I think that where a lot of people get stuck here is that they try to fit in the things they really care about and also the things society says they should really care about. And when you add those two things together, that's too many things. You probably have time for all the things you actually care about. You also could have time for all the things society says you should care about. But you don't have time for both of them. So you need to make sure that your real priorities are reflected in your schedule and on your to-do list, and that anything that you're just doing because you feel like you should, but it doesn't actually line up with your goals or your objectives for those different roles that you are in your life, those things you let go. I put together a priority planner pack of PDFs that you can use to kind of work through some of these exercises that I talked about in this video, including figuring out what is in your urgent important matrix and which things you should really focus on, and also clarifying those objectives for each of your roles in life. If you want to grab that pack for free, then check the description down below for a link to do so. Okay, now I need your help. If you're an entrepreneur yourself and you're working to build an online business, then I need to know what you're struggling with, because I'm trying to create consistent content that will really be helpful to you. So leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you're working on in your business right now, what problems you're running up against, and I might just make a video about exactly that in the near future. I would really appreciate your help and I would love to hear from you. One more thing before I wrap this up. If you happen to be new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button before you go so you don't miss my next video. I make new videos every single week all about building a successful online business, and if that's something that you're interested in, then I would love to have you join me for the next one. All right, well, that's all for today. Thanks so much. I hope you have a fantastic week and I'll see you next time.